Hi, welcome back to Milmo Wood from the beautiful North Wales. Today we're going to make another beginner's project. We're going to make like a coaster tray. It's going to be big enough to put your cup on, have room for a biscuit or whatever you're going to have with your drink or hot chocolate. I'm going to personalise this one. I'm going to personalise the coaster, and I'm actually going to personalise the little wooden tray that the coaster goes on. It's a brilliant beginner's project. So many small limited tools. I'm using some special tools, but you could just use hand saws, etc., and sanding tools. Be great at craft fairs this. Let's crack on, make the video. Hope you enjoy the video. Now I'm going to walk around a bit because I'm not sure what I'm going to use. Ooh, bit of oak left over from bookcase, nice bit of scrap. Plywood, no. Let me root through and decide what I'm going to use. Well, I've decided to go with the oak. It's a lovely size, perfect. I don't think I need both pieces though. I think this one will be sufficient. So this measures in at just over 16 inches or 42 centimeters long. And 3 inches, just over 8 centimeters wide. I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to have to split it though, and then joint the two sides together. 8 inches, I think 8 inches will be plenty long enough. Let's do that to begin with. Now before I actually cut it, this has already been finished with tung oil. I know that because I use this as skirting on a bookcase that I made. And then this edge has got a bit of a blemish on it. I'm not sure how well that'll join up with the glue. So I'm just going to trim a few millimeters off, get back to the bare wood, then we'll split it and glue it together. Excellent, so we got the two pieces, split them to a nice length. I trimmed the edges, take the oil off, and now we just need to glue them together. And luckily the markings on the wood all but make it a bookmark piece, which is fantastic. Absolute luck. So glue the edge. I'm going to use waterproof glue. I'm actually going to use Type Bond 3, but waterproof glue, and then let's clamp them together. I used a bit too much glue there. I'll take some of that off because you don't want too much squeeze out. You don't need too much pressure, but what you need to see is glue being squozen out of the joints. You see we've got squeeze out on the bottom as well, which is perfect, just what we need. Get rid of that. And then what I like to do is just clamp the edges of the wood across the joint, trying to keep them as flat as possible to each other. I'm going to set that aside to dry now, and once it's dried, so it's pretty cold, I'll probably leave that 4 or 5 hours. I'll come back and start finishing off. Well, it's a few hours later now. Let's take the clamps off. Oh, nice. Let's wrap some edges on. I'm just going to trim both ends off. Make sure that they're straight. a nice little finish on the edge. Now I'm going to recess a coaster into it. I've chosen cork. I've got slate. I think the cork looks better. I've chosen a 90mm coaster as well. So I just need to cut a recess hole in that. In order to do that, I need to just draw around it, and then I'm going to use a router and freehand a recess out. Perfect. Then just go around it with a pencil. Don't know how clearly you can see that, and now I just need to router that out. Now I fitted a straight edge router bit. Now I just need to set the depth of the bit to the right depth, which will be the coaster. There we go. And then lock that in place. If you're not comfortable freehand routering, you can make a template, but I think for this I'm going to do it freehand. You could also really just stick the coaster on the surface if you haven't got a router. I'm just going to start the router, and very gently I'm just going to lower it down, holding it really tightly in my hand, and just wait till we get to the right depth. It's not too deep, I don't think. If it was much deeper I would do it in a couple of passes, but this is only a couple of millimeters. I'm comfortable in doing this straight to the right depth. So initially I've not gone to the line, I've taken it very close. Just going to try the coaster against it. I'm comfortable with that, it's a good depth. Now I'm just going to take it very carefully up to the line. Well, I'm pleased with that. That's a really good fit. Now a bit of sanding, finishing off. There's a bit of a gap. Can you see that where we jointed the wood? I'm just going to fill that in as well. So I'm going to sand it and prepare it now. Well, I've sanded that down to 240 grit now. I've dampened the cloth. You can do this with a spritzer. Just going to dampen the surface. So although the wood's extremely smooth, by dampening the surface you're going to raise any grain. And then once it's dried a little, I'll sand it again, and that'll just take that additional grain down and make it ultra smooth. Nearly ready. I'm not sure if you can see that, there's some minor gaps in the joint. Now I've sanded, I'm just going to fill those. I'm going to use a bit of waterproof glue. I'm just going to open the sander and take some of the sawdust out of the sander. which is the sawdust from this oak now. Work that glue in a little bit, and then I'm just going to rub the sawdust over the top. I'll wait for that to go off now, and then I'll sand again with 240 grit. I don't know how clear it is to the camera, but that's now completely sealed that gap. I'm going to add extra items to this. I'll show you shortly, but if that's all that you're doing now, you could in fact glue the insert or the coaster and put finish on it. But I'm going to do some lasering just to make it a bit more personal for the individual that's having the gift. A good friend of mine. Well, we're coming to the end now. I've laser etched my coaster. As you saw before, that's finished. I've also laser etched the coaster with an image I've got off the internet. My friend is an avid hiker and always wears a baseball cap. Now, because I've lasered it, what I've done, and I haven't shown you on camera yet, is I quickly put one coat of lacquer over the top, aerosol lacquer. But we still need to finish these coasters off. I need to stick the cork into the recess, and then I'll put the finished lacquer on it. I had originally planned to use wood glue in the recess to glue the coaster onto. With it being cork, that wouldn't be a problem. Because I've put some lacquer on there, I'm not comfortable that the coaster will stick or the wood glue will stick to the lacquer. It probably would, but just in case, I'm going to use some mitre glue. Now I just want to make sure that I get right round the edge of this. I'm probably putting too much on, and then just going to put a wiggle across the centre. And what I find with this glue is if you wipe the top before you put it back. Now this isn't the fastest setting one, which is a good thing, because I need time to make sure that I placed it correctly. Then the coaster has to be straight because of the print. And I've got a lovely tight fit, so I just need to press it into place. Now what I do have is the accelerator, so just on the edges I'm going to push in some accelerator. Coaster's in place. I got some clear lacquer. What I find with this is I'm just going to spray it across. Make sure you go past the ends, and then I'm going to spray it the opposite direction then, just to make sure I've got full coverage. And of course we need to make sure we got the edges covered as well. That's all the edges done. I'll leave that to go off, and I may give it another coat. So I put the final coat of lacquer on now. The coaster's set in place. I just flip it over. I put some felt feet on in each corner, and of course the Milmo Wood logo. I'm really happy with it. It's turned out really well, and just in the nick of time. My friend whose birthday it is actually a little late for a dinner party, so I've only just finished it in time. All wrapped and ready to go, just in the nick of time. Wow, thanks for watching till the end. If you liked the video, it would be absolutely fantastic if you would hit the like button, subscribe, or even push that bell and share it with friends and family. That would be absolutely brilliant for me. I'm only a small channel here in North Wales, and I could do with all the help that I can get. Glad you enjoyed the video. Wait for the next ones. Have a look at my back catalogue. Enjoy the videos.